Minister, Your Excellency, the Apostolic Nuncio, Your Excellency, the Permanent Representative of Burkina Faso, thank you so much for gracing us with your wisdom. Esteemed partners, dear friends, dear young people, I greet you in peace, which, after all, is the noble purpose of the United Nations, and it is the wish of every woman, every girl that UNFPA serves all around the world. And that peace, that ability to live free from fear, free from harm, continues to elude women and girls, sadly, in every part of our world. I remember a woman called Marian, who was forced to undergo female genital mutilation, FGM. And this at the age of 14, even though her father had opposed the practice. In her tradition, it would have been done earlier. Yet, once he passed away, there was no one to protect her, to shield her from that fate. And that trauma for her has been long-lasting. When she was pregnant and delivered her first child, she suffered 3 days of excruciating labor pain and said that she would not wish such suffering on anyone, not even my worst enemy. She vowed that her own daughter will never have to endure what she did, and she speaks up and she speaks out to protect human dignity. And that's what we all need to do, as we're doing today, to speak up and to speak out. Because it is true that each and every day, 2,000 girls undergo female genital mutilation. And an estimated 4.4 million girls every year newly become at risk. Other forms of gender-based violence and harmful practices continue to be rampant. And I always say that if this practice is as old as the days of the caveman, if it's as old as the days of Methuselah, this is the generation that will change that practice. Child marriage is one of them, and at least 650 million girls and women alive today were married during their childhood, robbing them of achieving their full potential. And overall, estimates, and we know that these are underestimates because of stigma and shame, 1 in 3 women will experience violence at some point during her lifetime. So this risk, the risk of GBV, the risk of FGM, the risk of harmful practices, only worsens when we have conflict, when we have war, when we have humanitarian disaster, even if it's famine or flood, cyclone, climate related. Families come under increasing pressure. They come under increasing economic and social stress. And when you have record levels of displacement and hardship and humanitarian need, desperation can lead people to marry off their child or to subject them to harmful practices. So at UNFPA, as many of you know, we have defined a 0. And we say 0, right, to all forms of violence and harmful practices against women and girls, being committed to work closely with governments and with civil society and with religious leaders, with traditional chiefs, with whichever allies are going to help women and girls get to 0. And here I will say that promoting positive masculinities and directly engaging men and boys is part of making them essential partners to end these practices, many of which are designed to make girls marriageable. So men have a leading role to play. Your leadership has a leading role to play to counter these social and cultural norms that would perpetuate these human rights violations. Together already, I think we've done a lot, but we're talking about zero violence in the home, zero violence in our communities, an end to marrying girls before the age of 18, and an end to FGM with all of its physical but also mental ramifications and scars. 30 years after global leaders came together at the International Conference on Population and Development in Cairo, UNFPA can say we've seen significant gains in women's rights and empowerment in the over 130 developing countries where we serve. Yet, for those who've been excluded from those gains, the pain is real when you're excluded from this type of progress. So that's why UNFPA is hard at work, providing the research, providing the changes to health systems, the shelters, the counseling, the hotlines, and the summer camps, many of which are actually led by religious communities that would shield women, and in this case girls, from GBV, up to and including technology-facilitated GBV. Girls need to be safe online and to be free from fear of being insulted and stigmatized and shamed. Technology should be our friend, and it should be put to positive ends. So I hope that when you leave this room, that your actions are going to spell the difference in communicating what you know about protecting girls and dismantling FGM. And this is going to bring better health to the girls and much more happiness to their families. So we pledge to work together with you to plant those seeds of peace, to do the faithful work that we need to do to transform societies, for these changes to take root, and for women and girls to live confidently in peace, in freedom, and in full equality. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Anna, for coordinating.